Hi there, everyone. Welcome to your pre-scene analysis for the management case study exam in November 2020 and February 2021. We are going to be using the same pre-scene over two windows. And here is the first part of the pre-scene that we have analyzed for you, detailed for you, and presented to you in a very simple and easy way. So, throughout this pre scene, we are going to help you understand the company in a very simple, in a very easy way, and we will point out the syllabus areas from E2, P2, and F2 that you must look at or that you must have an idea of while pointing out the CIMA blueprint core areas as well to make sure that these areas are something that you cover because the pre-scene has a mention of them. For example, if they tell us anything about cost accounting, if they tell us anything about budgeting, we know that this is the P2 area syllabus that we are supposed to study. So we will make the highlights for you, the underlines for you, the arrows for you, showing you that this is what you must focus on, and the important areas will be presented to you in an easy and understandable way. The full pre-scene analysis is 2 hours long, just above 2 hours. This first part helps you to understand the pre-scene in a very simple and easy way. Again, trying to present the important information in an easily rememberable way so that you can use it as part of your answers. Now, before watching our pre-scene, we always advise students to watch our industry analysis. Industry analysis is something that adds further value to your pre-scene understanding. And for the same, we have a free MCS mini course which guides you through the industry analysis, the pre-scene analysis part 1, which guides you through how the blueprint areas need to be studied, which gives you a blueprint document explanation explaining each part of the blueprint. So we urge everyone to try out the free mini course. The link is in the description below. All you have to do is try it now. Having said that, we now begin with our pre-scene analysis, and we will see how stuff is being made easy with this easy presentation and with this innovative presentation that we are bringing for you. So let's go. So now you will see that word by word of the pre-scene analysis released by CIMA is being broken down by us, giving you ideas, giving you areas that you're supposed to keep in your mind. So they start by telling us that Prybloxx is a quoted company, which means it's a listed company. Now, there are some benefits and limitations of being a quoted, being a listed company, which we must keep at the back of our mind. So the advantage is that there is easy capital growth. You can, buy and sell shares easily. So capital can be raised, enhanced visibility, you have better liquidity, and you have better transparency. The disadvantages are obviously there is high scrutiny, there is increasing liability because there are lots of reports, lots of government admin work that you need to finish. So these are just the back of the mind benefits and limitations that you must have of being a quoted company. So we are a quoted company that manufactures a range of plastic bricks, so construction toys that are sold globally as toys and educational products. So the plastic bricks which students and kids of the smaller age group generally use as toys or for educational products is what our major market is. So I'm trying to point out from the word globally that we see that this is a global company, which means it's going to be trading in different countries and hence different currencies. So different countries, different currencies gives rise to your foreign exchange risks. Now, foreign exchange is something that is dealt with in your F2 syllabus. So please take this into account. That's a chapter we will have to keep in our mind. Moving on, Prybloxx is based in the central city in Varanda. So the country that they've given you is called Varanda, Varanda, and you are based in the central city. Veranda has a developed economy with relatively high wage rates, which means that citizens can afford a good standard of living. They're telling you that it's a developed economy. Now, if I think about the Porter's Diamond, which is part of my E2 syllabus, I can clearly see that the demand conditions of the diamond are going to be strong because it's a developed economy. So, Veranda is a highly developed economy, which means people will have the interest and will have the disposable income to spend on educational toys to make sure children develop in the correct way by investing in this material. So, because it's a good standard of living, because it's a developed country, I know that people will be educated and will be pulled towards these kind of products. So, demand conditions are already good for you in your home country. And when that's the case, a company generally turns out to be successful because customers are demanding. So keep these points in mind whenever you are starting an answer, whenever you are ending an answer, or anywhere you can just put in saying that since we are, since our company operates in Veranda, which is a highly developed economy, or we are based out of Veranda, which is a highly developed economy, adds further competitive advantage and gives us further motive to innovate and give our customers good products because the demand conditions are high. They are always going to ask for more, so customers are going to be demanding. So as you can see, every word is being analyzed and we are giving you hints from any word as to which area you must focus on and what that particular connotation means in this case. Moving on, Veranda's currency is V dollars. Verandan company law requires companies to prepare their financial statements in accordance to the International Financial Reporting Standards (IFRS). So again, F2 syllabus. We will be giving you the notes for this. We will be giving you the revision course for this. So all you have to do is follow everything that we give you. Moving on, you are a financial manager at Prybloxx head office. So they are telling you that your role is that of a finance manager. So what does a finance manager have to do? Generally, your role will be to focus on the medium term. So 3 to 5 years is what your decision period will be like. You will look at risk management, long term financing, F2 syllabus, advanced financial reporting, F2 syllabus, advising the top management, P2 and E2 syllabus, and considering all stakeholders when making important, relevant decisions. That's again your P2 syllabus. So, something that we must keep in mind. Moving on, your primary responsibilities are associated with management accounting, and you report to Alex McDonald, the senior manager who reports directly to the finance director. So you report to Alex McDonald. Alex McDonald reports to the senior director or the finance director. So when they say management accounting, my mind is again drawn to the P2 syllabus. Let's keep moving on. The history of plastic construction toys. So they are now giving you the history or the background of the construction toys market. Guess what? We already have a brief idea about this because we have done our industry analysis, because we've briefly gone through the industry analysis. If not, sign up to the mini course now and the industry analysis can be accessed. But you can still keep listening to this. So Prybloxx manufactures construction toy sets that are based primarily on plastic bricks. These bricks come in different shapes, sizes, colors, but the majority have studs on top and tubes on the inside. As you can see, the picture is right there, and I'm pretty sure everybody has seen them, used them at some stage in their life. This arrangement makes it possible to clip the bricks together to create toys and models that children play with. Afterwards, they can be easily unclipped and you can use it for something else. So they're just explaining to you further what the major product is which Prybloxx manufactures. So something to just keep in mind. Moving on, this style of construction toys was launched in 1930s by a competing brand. So this was first launched by another competing brand in the year 1930. So 90 years ago was when this product was first introduced. This brand remains the market leader for this type of toy. So these bricks that we are speaking about, interconnecting the competing brand for which they've not given a name, but this competing brand is the market leader. The design proved popular with children because it permitted to use their imagination. We already know this is the major fuel for this market growing. Parents were attracted by the educational value associated with design and construction process. So we can clearly see that this is a focus market because you're only focusing on one group or one segment of the customers. Children are was what you are focusing on because they are the ones who are primarily using this particular product. So if I look at the Porter's generic strategies, I see this as a focus market. The company grew steadily until it became one of the world's largest toy makers. For 30 odd years, they had no real competitors, and hence it showed promising growth to become the world's largest toy makers. Competing brands only started to make bricks and marketed them during the 1960s. So, this competing brand that they're speaking about has become the world's largest toy maker because they didn't really have any competition for 30 years. So, they were the first movers, they took advantage of it, and they gained a huge market share. So remember, there is a competing brand for which there is no name really given, but this is a brand which is the market leader and it's the world's largest toy maker. They introduced this concept of bricks, of bricks being clipped together and being made into a model. These were deliberately designed so that they were compatible with the industry leader and so could be used interchangeably with its bricks. So competing brands who started making these bricks deliberately decide them so that they were compatible with the industry leader, so you could interchangeably use them. If I have the competing brand's product and if I have my brand's product, I can interchange and use them. They were deliberately made that way. The design of the bricks could not be patented because the brick has very little specification. For example, how will you patent each and every hole, each and every perforation, and each and every spoke on that brick? It's difficult. So the design of the brick could not be patented, and so there was nothing to prevent competitors from entering the market, provided they did not abuse the registered trademarks such as the company name, the name of the product, and the product range. Certain things you can trademark. Yes, I can trademark my product, trademark the name of my brand, but the individual bricks cannot be patented. So this points out to the F2 syllabus where we need to focus on intangible assets, because intangible assets are something which is going to be important for this market. So the management of research, development, and then intangible assets is my F2 syllabus that I will need to focus on. So keep this in mind. And as you are viewing this pre-scene, you will also have received a PDF document for the same slides that you're seeing on screen right now. Have a Word file open or print that document out and make your own notes. So everything that I'm specifying on as important, as I'm giving you further ideas, just make sure you put it down because you won't be able to recall everything. So make sure you make it personalized, add in your own ideas, add in the explanations that I'm giving, so the next time when you read it, these ideas are firmly placed in your mind. So keep F2 syllabus for this particular segment in your mind. Also, this shows that barriers to entry are very low in this industry. So anybody can enter, start making the bricks and enter. You don't, though obviously there will be a differentiating factor for the brand name, brand image, but bricks can be made by anybody. So the threat of substitutes and rivalry amongst competitors will also be a feature of this market. So remember, if you're looking at the Porter's five forces which define the competitiveness in an industry, then yes, The threat of substitutes, the rivalry amongst competitors is going to be high. The initial aim of the competitors was to compete on the basis of retail price. So initially, what they thought was, we'll offer the same bricks, but we'll offer them at a lower price. Making them compatible with those of the leading brands enabled them to compete directly on price, because as we said, these bricks could be used interchangeably. So if a repeat customer goes to buy, he will want to sell, he might want to, shell out a little bit less money and may end up purchasing your company's product rather than the world's largest toy maker or the competing brand that we are speaking about, because the product is the same. You can use it intangibly and interchangeably. Some manufacturers actively promoted them as a means of adding to a child's connection of the leading brand of bricks. So, if you have bought the leading brand of bricks, and if your child wants more, you buy another but a cheaper set, because they can be used interchangeably. Until the 1970s, all manufacturers sold generic sets of building blocks, with the bricks being supplied in a small range of different colors. So, this is what the standard was until the 1970s. Over time, the range of parts has expanded slightly, and now it includes items such as wheels, which can be clipped into special bricks that have internal tubes that allow the axles to rotate. So you can actually put the wheels to use now. There is some innovation that started entering the market in the 1970s. Over time, the range of parts has also expanded, and a child might build a toy house one day and he can build a toy car the next. So, options were available. Interchangeability came into the picture because certain brands were available at a cheaper price than the competing brand. So, over here, just to sum it up, make sure there is no confusion. There is one competing brand who is the world's largest toy manufacturer, which started making these bricks in 1930. In 1960s, there were other competing brands which started making these bricks and offered it at a lower price. And because of this increased competition, there were new models that started to come up in the 1970s. That's your summary. Moving on, by the late 1980s, the leading brand's manufacturers decided to change its direction by adding model kits for sale alongside the sets of generic building blocks. So they keep selling the generic building blocks, but they added a new product. So they made a product development strategy where they introduced a new product in the market called model kits. So again, they are the pioneers, they are bringing the change. These model kits include a printed sheet of instruction and specific bricks that enabled the child to build a specific item. For example, they will call it a fire extinguisher kit. So from that, the child can mix and match, use the bricks to make a fire extinguisher. And this kit might be intended to build a toy fire engine, something like this. So it will have specifications you can only use to make a specific toy fire engine. So these are model kits which were introduced by the leading brand in 1980s. The distinguishing characteristics of those kits was that they included custom parts which you don't get in the generic building block set. The generic building block set, yes, you can still buy it and make whatever you want. But if you want to make a specific toy fire engine from red colored bricks with a red color frame picture attached, as you can see over here, then you need to buy a model kit. So, this is a new product, a new innovation that they brought about. Over time, the sophistication of model kits has also grown, with greater emphasis on custom parts and printing to make the model more realistic. So they were the pioneers, and based on the change that they bought, based on the new product that they introduced, more sophistication has now started happening. The custom parts include small figures that have movable arms and legs that can enhance the value of play. For example, if you look at this image over here, you will see that as part of the fire engine model kit, They will also give you this kind of a small figure which you can place on the fire engine, which just adds value to the kit. The kit becomes more realistic. So these are further sophistications, further customizations which are available. There has also been a move towards technology, obviously, which is very important in today's world. It is now possible to purchase various electronic components that add functions ranging from flashlights to remote control motors to whatever you want. So, this is something that is changing for this particular market. Keep this in mind as we move on. Moving on, we finally now start talking about Prybloxx. So until now, only speaking about the generic industry, the developments in the industry, and so on. Now, Prybloxx was only founded in 2004 by Brendan Lee, an entrepreneur who wished to imitate the continuing success of the leading brand's sale of sets and model kits. So, see, it was only developed, this company came about being in 2004 by an entrepreneur who saw that the leading competitor company that we are speaking about, the company which is the largest toy manufacturer in the world, is continuing its success. It's really growing. So Brandon Lee thinks, let me imitate the same. Let me sell the same sets, the same model kits, or along the same lines, so that if that company is successful, I can be successful as well. So the major factor in this company coming about being is the imitation. So imitating the success is an important word to focus on. So we have already been in the market for about 16 years. Formed in 2004, today is 2020. So you can say that you have been in the market for 16 years, which means we have garnered some goodwill or some resistance ability that we have been able to thrive and grow during this period. Now, do you know any company in this whole wide world who has existed for 16 years but still does not make a profit, or still does not make the customers happy, or still does not have a good amount of sales? No, a company generally cannot exist for such a long period of time if people are not happy with it. So we may have garnered some goodwill, some resistance over this period of time, which is my comparative advantage. So as part of your answer, or as part of your understanding of the company, you can always include in your mock answers that you're going to write with us, that we have been in the market for 16 years. So we have a good team who is able to research, develop, and forecast what the market is going to be, which adds to our comparative advantage. So see how I'm simply using this one line of information, turning it to my advantage and using it in my answer to give a further feeling of to the examiner that you've understood the pre-scene, which is an important factor of this exam. So the more you use the points that we are giving you as part of your answer, the better your answer becomes. Obviously, it's only a start, it only gives a good approach to your answer. You need to know the material from E2, P2, and F2, which will help you go through. But once you understand the pre-scene well, it's a good start and a good approach to the case study. That is why the pre-scene analysis is the backbone for any case study. Now, for your extra reading, I have put over here a very important paragraph, or a segment if you want to call it, which speaks about imitation. Because your company is imitating the continued success of the leading competitor, it's following in those footsteps. So, a brand imitation is a product that borrows or copies some special attributes of a famous or a leading brand, such as name, shape, or color. Over here, what we are doing is we are making the same kind of bricks as the leading competitor does. We follow what they do. These are those that are not identical but similar to substance, nature, name, form, or intent to an acknowledged and widely known product or service. Everybody knows the leading brand. Yours is an alternative to the leading brand along the same lines. It's called the brand imitation strategy. So, what are the factors that affect brand imitation? There is time. So, time is a very important factor that would affect the success of both the innovator and the imitator. The faster the imitators can imitate the innovations, the earlier the imitators can grab the market share. So if the leading company does something new, the faster you can do the same, but in your own way, the better it is for your company, right? So time is going to be an important factor for Prybloxx. Same way, legislations are going to be an important factor for Prybloxx to follow. If the leading manufacturer has patented something, has trademarked something, then you must be sure to avoid those hurdles to make sure that you protect yourself. Then, also, sorry, let's keep another part in mind as well. Let's say you make something new. You made something new along the same lines of the leading competitor, but it's new, it's different. How do you protect yourself so that somebody else does not copy it? So for that reason, again, patents, trademarks, licenses, something that you really need to look at in this industry from Prybloxx perspective as well. Next, we speak about suppliers. The suppliers that provide and spread the raw material and critical technologies for the manufacturer of new products or services are another factor that affect the speed of the imitations, because if the leading competitor does something, leading manufacturer, the competing brand, the leader does something, he can do it easily because he has a good network of supply. If you cannot source the same supply, how will you be able to make the product? So suppliers add to competitive advantage. The production process is also important. Same way, spread of technology, the degree of how much and how fast the knowledge of innovation can spread or can be obtained is a factor that affects brand imitation. So when you are imitating a brand, a successful brand, like we are in this case, like Prybloxx is doing in this case, you need to take the factors of time, legislation, suppliers, production process, and spread of technology in your mind. This is something that must be kept in mind and must be an important factor as you consider future strategies as well. So this is not part of the pre-scene. I have put it as extra reading and supplementary reading, but as you can see, it's important for this to be there so you further understand the strategy of your company, how your company works, what are the major pillars of your company. Continuing with the extra information, imitation strategy is a strategy that not only mimics the strategy of other companies, but also imitates the promotions, the distribution strategies, and everything. So, if the leading competitor comes out with a new promotional campaign where they are using a famous actor, you will do the same. If they are distributing with their own trucks, you will try to vertically integrate as well. So you imitate not only their product, but you can also look at imitating their promotion strategies, their distribution strategies, which can work out well. So going forward, we will see what Pryblox's promotion strategies are, what their distribution strategies are, and then there is something which we can, and then this is an area where we can recommend that, since we are using since we are imitating the leading manufacturer, we can also look at their promotion and distribution strategies and use it for my own advantage. The imitation strategy is only used at the beginning, and if companies continue to use it for a long term, then it would be considered as a market follower who can never become a market leader. So remember, what we are saying here is to enter the market, to gain certain aspects of the market. Yes, you can use the imitation strategy, but at some stage you will have to do something by yourself. You'll have to introduce something which is your own. Otherwise, you will always be a follower and never be a leader. So this is something that you need to keep in mind from Pryblox's perspective. Because if you are an innovator, if you are a leader, you get the first mover advantages. Whereas you are called a pioneer, you will be the first person to sell this product in the market. So people will, be excited. You face less competition, you develop a cost advantage. So at some stage, if you become a market leader, there are first mover advantages which can be beneficial for your company. But there is another side to this as well. Imitators also have certain advantages. For example, if I'm a market mover, first mover, let's say, and I am a market pioneer. I invest lots of money to make a new product or to make a new research. After that research is successful, my product comes out. The market followers will generally see what my new product is and then try to reverse engineer it and save the research and development costs. So what they generally do is, imitators, they will wait for the pioneer to incur that high cost so that they can simply do the customer research, sample study, pilot testing, and for no cost make the same product. So there is good and bad of first mover, and there is good for imitation as well. It depends what your company chooses as its direction. A later entrant can also take advantage of technological progress. You can see the technology in the market and try to improve on that. So, like I said, keep your mind open. Yes, you are imitating the leading competitor. So, there are advantages of imitation, and there are advantages of first mover being a pioneer at some stage, which can add value. So, something to keep in mind, and you can see that this extra relevant information that we are giving you really adds to the understanding of the company. Keep this in mind, guys. This is the extra information we are giving you, which you can see is very beneficial for your pre-scene understanding. So keep in mind the extra information that I gave you, and we are back to the pre-scene now. So Mr. Lee, who is the entrepreneur who started the business Prybloxx, developed a range of generic bricks that were compatible, with those of the leading brand. As we already know, this has always been the market trend, where you design bricks which are compatible interchangeably with your brand and the leading brand. These were sold by weight in order to stress the value for money that Prybloxx was offering. So Prybloxx, for example, will say that I'm giving you 1 kg of bricks for $5. So that has been your marketing technique, where you're trying to show value by the size or the weight of the products that you're selling. Selling bricks in 1 and 2 kilogram boxes also made packaging and distribution cheaper because it was standardized. You only sell 1 or 2 kilograms. Prybloxx bricks were also manufactured to very fine tolerances, so they fitted well. So that's your comparative advantage, that you can make the bricks to very fine tolerances. That's something that you did well. Many cheaper brands had a reputation for being difficult to attach to one another, and the resulting model was also very fragile. So, this is something that you are far away of, because you have a comparative advantage of making very fine tolerance bricks which fit very well. Prybloxx has always aimed to match the leading brand in terms of product quality. You follow what they do, but quality is something that you do not compromise on. So remember, your company has good focus on quality. Once Prybloxx is established as a brand, so once it takes some time to make the brand, right? Once the brand was established, the it always tried to give good quality and value for money. So value for money aspect was focused on, and quality was also focused on. Slowly it started to develop its own ranges of model kits as well. So earlier you only sold bricks as, in 1 and 2 kilogram boxes, and were very good at it, focused on quality. So then you started developing your own range of model kits as well. So it developed a brand and then leveraged it to introduce new products. These kits proved highly successful, and as a result, Prybloxx grew rapidly. Prybloxx was quoted in 2010, so relatively right now, 10 years ago. At that time, Brendan Lee retired from the company and sold all of his equity. Now, this is the generic strategy of entrepreneurs, where they start a business, make it reach its profitability, make it reach a certain stage, then they list the company on the stock exchange. So, private company becomes a public company. They then sell their shares for a hefty, huge profit and exit. So most generic route for entrepreneurs: start a company, make it successful, list it, and exit with a huge sum of money. That's what the entrepreneur who started our company, Prybloxx, Mr. Brandon Lee, also did. So some information that you must keep in mind. Moving on, they have given us a graph in our pre-scene, so we will obviously analyze it. So you can see that the graph predicts three things: the leading manufacturer's revenues, Pryblox's revenues, and Constro's revenues, which is also a competitor name given to you. Now, as you can see, the revenues and the sales of the market as a whole are increasing because from 2004 to 2019, the overall sales in the market is increasing. So, first of all, that's a good thing. All three companies are sloping upwards, meaning there is demand. People are buying products. So, there is something that must be kept in mind where we can say that the market is growing. So, that's an encouraging sign. Now, the leading manufacturers' revenues are close to 5,200 in millions as of today in 2019. Whereas my revenue is close to Pryblox's revenue is close to 3,600 in millions. So you can see there is a significant gap. There is a gap of about 1,600 million. So it's a big gap between the competitor, the leading manufacturer, and you. On the other hand, Constro is smaller than you as well in terms of revenue. The revenue size is 1600 million. There is a considerable gap in revenues between the three companies, but they are still in the same segment. So this all three companies are targeting the same customer group, which is children, and trying to sell the same product at relatively similar prices. So the prices will be here and there the same, a little bit lower, a little bit higher in certain cases, but they are catering to the same customer segment, same customer group, but still the leading manufacturer is far ahead. So something that you can keep in mind whenever you are writing an answer, you can simply say, since our revenue is 1600 million less than the leading competitor, innovative product strategies or innovative research and development can be a way we can cut that gap. So yes, something to be kept in mind. So this is how you can use a couple of the numbers, a couple of the graph information that has been given to you to enhance the value of your answer. So like I have mentioned in the industry analysis as well, make sure that any document that you see which is given by us, you take good ideas from it and use it as part of your answer, because that's what the whole point is, right? The better answer you write, the more marks you get. So the better you understand a company, the better answer you can write. It's completely correlated. So please take these ideas that we are giving you and mark them out, write them so that you don't forget them and you can finally use it as part of your answers which you are going to write with us. Further, they explain to us the product range that Prybloxx offers. Prybloxx has mainly three products: basic, the Prybloxx kits, and the Prybloxx character kits. Now, basic Prybloxx set comprises generic bricks and associated items such as wheels, doors, windows, which you can mix and match and make whatever you want. So they are used to encourage children to express their creativity. Schools often use basic Prybloxx in the classroom because they are ideal for helping young children help stimulate their mind and also to solve mathematical concepts. So this is your target market. For the basic Prybloxx, your customers are the schools. So that is what you will focus on, because those are the segments that are buying from you. That is the particular market where you can leverage your product. So basic Prybloxx is simple bricks which you sell to schools majorly so that they can use it for educational purposes. Prybloxx kits, on the other hand, were a huge success. We already know that. So this is our star product. This is our product that we need to keep developing. So kits range comprises sets of bricks that are built to a specific model. So you can build a specific model. They are supplied with building instructions which enable children to build the item pictured on the box lid. The bricks contained in one of these sets could be used in conjunction with other bricks to make a larger model, but children generally keep the model as a toy as part of a collection and do not dismantle it once it's made. So the whole purpose is you create the particular specific model and then keep it as a toy rather than breaking it. That's the job of a kit. So you can see the replenishing life of a kit is going to be much faster, because after a kit is made, the child will demand for another one. So if you can engage somebody to buy your kits, you can engage them to be interested in your kits, that becomes a valuable customer. Prybloxx kits usually contain some custom parts which are not available in the basic box, obviously. That's the differentiating factor. And the kits are often linked to themes. For example, there can be wagons, carriages, locomotives, fire extinguishers, whatever. On the other hand, there are also Prybloxx character kits. So, a further breakdown in the kit's umbrella itself. Now, Prybloxx character kits build into models that are based on a character, a vehicle, or a building from a film or a television program. This clear cut example of this has already been taught in the industry analysis. So, something again for you to go and watch, like I have mentioned. Prybloxx pays a royalty which grants a license to use copyrighted images and trademarked names. So, you pay a royalty for which you are granted a license, and then you can create a television program, uh, article, or an object or a character which you then sell. So, royalty fees is something that you will have to pay. The design and manufacture of Prybloxx character kits is virtually the same as the kit, except over here you will have to sometimes, share a percentage with the owner of the particular picture or the particular uh, television set or the character that you are using. So, with that, we come to the end of the first part of our pre scene analysis. And thank you very much for joining us for this journey. This is only the first part of the pre scene. We still have about an hour and a half of the pre scene left, which will run you through again each and every part and then takes you to the most important financial analysis as well, where each and every ratio, each and every number is broken down by us. We tell you the significance of it, we explain the importance of it to you, so you understand the nature of the company, the manufacturing process of the company, and you also understand the financial position of the company, which is important. So all of that is in part 2 of the pre-scene analysis, where we complete the pre-scene along with the financials. For more details, you just have to visit finntutors.com. The link is there. And again, I want to mention the importance of our free mini course. Have you viewed it yet? If not, now is your chance to try it. Link is in the description. Just go on it, click on it, and you will be taken to a fully informative and free mini course for the management case study exam that will definitely help you towards your preparation. So I hope it's been a good journey, an enjoyable journey. Thank you very much for being here, and I hope to see you with us for part 2.